we have a mostly veteran team that's been through this and understands how the league works. And so, I think the work and the focus every day has been good. We've been playing good basketball. Tonight, we had stretches where we weren't our best. So that happens. And, so I think the veteran presence on our team helps us, during this time of year.
Welcome to the 3 o'clock hour here on this Friday. As always, thanks for hanging out with us here. John Gambadoro, Dave Burns, Lauren, the Burns and Gambo show with you on this Friday. Phoenix Suns taking on the Warriors tonight. Then they've got 2 against Portland. 1 tomorrow on the second night of a back-to-back that's in Portland, and then another game in Portland on Monday. And then it's Oklahoma City, and then it's the trade deadline on Thursday. And, of course, we've been talking nonstop about the trade deadline. There's really nothing new to tell you at this point. Gambo reported yesterday and is reporting again today. Don't expect anything to happen today.
No, Suns would like to make a move today.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would.
These other teams are all waiting to the deadline, just the way the NBA is working, and they would love to be able to make it. They're still working on a lot of different things. So the Suns, they're not out on Jimmy Butler yet. I mean, they're still trying to figure out ways. But again, very hard to move Bradley Beal. I can't find a team that wants him. I'll talk more about the Sacramento stuff in a little bit because that's coming up. But other stuff, too. They're working on a lot of other avenues to try to get players that can help this roster.
Well, especially if you're not going to be able to move Beal and you're not going to be able to bring in Jimmy Butler, you better be working on other stuff because you can't keep pounding your head against that wall if you just realize no one's going to want Bradley Beal's contract. We'll continue. I just want to give everybody kind of the latest on that in case people go, hey, what's going on? Right now, nothing's going on. And this one might go all the way up until the deadline before we see some movement. Now, Gambo and I, one thing we slightly disagree on is you're kind of in scoreboard watching mode. I'm not quite there yet.
You're not there yet.
At some point, I'll get there. I got to admit.
I don't know, man. That email today from Burns, he had some scoreboard watching.
I got bit by the bug a little bit. I got bit by the bug a little bit.
I saw that today. I almost dropped to the floor. Did you, Lauren, when you saw that Burnsy's email today?
Did you drop the scoreboard watching?
Burnsy's scoreboard watching. Here it is.
It was the Lakers beat the Wizards. They crushed the Wizards, which, just a side note.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do when you play the Washington Wizards.
Yeah, crush them.
Crush them.
Right. Not having a 3-point game with a minute left.
Points so Bronny James can set a career high in points with 5.
Right.
That's what you're supposed to. Seriously, LeBron James didn't play a minute in the fourth quarter against the Washington Wizards last night. They beat him by 38.
Bingo.
That's what you're supposed to do to a team like that. Let Bronny James get his 5 points.
Minnesota beat the Jazz by 25. By 25.
On the second night of a back-to-back.
Yeah,
Why
the second night of a back-to-back.
The Suns played the Jazz a couple of weeks ago. They beat them by 6. Okay, this is the stuff that makes you want to gouge your eyeballs out. It's like, come on,
I think we're asking for too much if we want that. We have to take into account
that wins.
The Suns are going to let these teams get back into games when they're beating them up.
You're probably right. And then the night before, it was wins by I'm refreshing. Dallas won, and the Clippers won, and the Warriors won. Look, the Suns have played 46 games. The Suns have 36 games to go. When is it too late? Like at what point? I heard Wolf and Luke talking about this a little bit today. Mm-hmm. We were going to talk about it yesterday, and we got kind of busy with other stuff.
Okay.
Like at what point do you need to see movement in the right direction before it becomes too late for this thing to change?
It's what I said about the Clippers. You beat the Clippers, but they go out and win their next game, and you lose to the Timberwolves. So 2 games off the schedule, you don't gain on them. So, hey, we beat the Clippers. That's great. Move up a game. But then the next game you lose, they win. You're in the same spot.
Right.
There's no movement. I did the math because I look because
I know you're so good at math.
I'm actually really good at balancing budgets and stuff like that. I'm actually really good at finances and balancing budgets.
You're the one person in the Valley who still walks into a bank and asks for a check register.
I do. I have the check register.
Can I get a check register, please? Yeah. What's that?
I still, I have a check register.
Okay.
I have a book, so I put all my bills in each month, January, February, March, everything.
All right, mathematician. What do you got for us? What numbers did you do?
So, last year, 46 wins was the play-in.
Yes.
46 wins was the play-in.
Okay.
At 24-22, the Suns need to go 22-14 to get to 46. 22 wins and 14 losses.
Ooh, okay.
So you got to play 8 games over 500. Last year, the team that did not play in the play-in tournament as the 6th seed was the Suns with 49 wins. Now, this isn't the be-all, end-all, but I'm just using last year as a barometer.
Okay.
To get to 49 wins, the Suns would have to go 25 and 11. 25.
Yeah, 36 games left, yes.
36 games left.
36 games left.
So 25 and 11 to get there. So that seems very unrealistic to me that they're going to play 14 games over 500 against
25 and 11 to get to 49 wins.
To get to 49 wins, which was last year, that kept you out of the play-in.
And to get to 46 wins, you're looking
22 and 14.
22 and 14, which again is against the toughest schedule in the NBA, at least by winning percentage of your opponents added up.
Yeah.
The Phoenix Suns still have the toughest.
Not the February schedule, though. The February schedule, because those Portland games, I think, is a little light. But you're right. When you go to March and I guess the games in April, it becomes the toughest.
Well, because, so the tough pocket for the Suns after the 2 Portland games is Oklahoma City and Utah, not Utah, but they're part of that pocket. Oklahoma City, Utah, Denver, Memphis, Houston. That's your tough February pocket. After that, it's the Spurs. They're fine, but they're not one of the elite teams. Chicago, Toronto, New Orleans twice at the end of the month. Like the second half of February is we're back to the mush.
There's some mush.
There's some mush
Bring
in February.
back the mush!
We're back to the mush, okay? Then pocket number 2 drops like a you-know-what.
Oh, yeah, you're getting hit in the head with a hammer.
It's Minnesota, the Clippers, Denver, Dallas, Memphis, Houston.
Where's Minnesota? In Minnesota?
No, that game's here.
That game's here? Okay.
Minnesota, Clippers, Denver, Dallas, Memphis, Houston. Then a little bit of a break with Sacramento, but then it's the Lakers. Then it's Cleveland, Milwaukee, Boston, Minnesota, Houston, Milwaukee, Boston, New York, Golden State, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and Sacramento. I mean, it's like,
all right. So let's look at it. I mean, is it possible to get to 46? Is it possible to get to 46 wins?
okay, the last 12 games,
Okay,
are just awful. They're just the last 12 games are Cleveland, Milwaukee. I'm not going to do home or away. Cleveland, Milwaukee, Boston, Minnesota, Houston, Milwaukee, Boston, New York, Golden State, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Sacramento.
yeah.
The last 12 games are.
Which means that I gave you a list of 10 games that are games that they should win. They can't lose those games. Like, you can't lose to Portland. I know Portland's playing better. You can't lose to Portland.
I think, and I'm just trying in my own mind, I'm trying to like put this in its right category. I think if you're still hovering around 500 on March 1st, you're screwed.
Okay.
I think you're screwed. I think if by the time you start tough pocket number 2, which starts on Sunday, March 2nd against Minnesota, followed by the Clippers, followed by Denver, followed by Dallas, followed by Memphis, followed by Houston.
Yeah, that's just brutal.
If you're still 500 or a game or two around 500 by the time the calendar flips to March, I don't think you're going to come back from that. I don't think, given that from March 2nd on, your schedule is so difficult and so tough. In other words, if you're going to put yourself in a position for these games to matter at the end of the season, you better beat Golden State. You better go 3-0 in your next 3 games.
So I gave you 10. I gave you 10 games that they needed to be 10-0. Mm-hmm. And I really believe they got to go 10-0. Washington, they won. So there's 9 left. At Portland, home against Utah,
Okay.
At Chicago, at Toronto, home against New Orleans, home against Toronto, home against Chicago. You can't lose these. You can't lose a game.
You can't.
You can't lose any of those games.
You can't.
Because you lose one of those games and you got to make it up somewhere else against one of these better teams. You know, I think maybe it's 45 wins get you in the playoffs this year instead of 46, but it's not 42. You're not getting into the playoffs with 42 wins.
No, and I don't think you're getting there if you're still a 500 basketball team at the beginning of March. I don't think with that schedule you can do it. I really, really don't.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.